Hello and welcome. My name is Ryan Johnson, and this is the Saltcast. And today I welcome the one and only Paul Johnson.
I have only
Well,
met, actually, another Paul Johnson. But
oh,
yes,
you've
I'm
met
glad
one.
to be here.
Do you often go, like, if you're renting something or you're trying to pick up something from somewhere
Yeah,
and they're like, so what's your name? Have you been here before? What's your name?
yeah, yeah.
My name's Paul Johnson. Like, oh, there's like
Oh man, we
50
got a
of
lot of
you.
Paul Johnsons.
What's your birthday? What's your phone number?
What's
Like,
your
oh,
address?
like every time,
Yeah.
same with me too, but I have yet to meet a Ryan Johnson. But there's
Oh really?
apparently like 100 of them in my small town where I
Oh
live.
wow. Oh wow.
I've yet to meet one.
That's cool.
Maybe I should start like a Facebook group for
The the group of Ryan Johnsons.
Ryan Johnson. We'll just get together. We'll
That
just
would
go
be
meet each other at
confusing.
the park and, play some ultimate frisbee or something.
No, bro. No, no. There are far more
Ryan,
important things like the
Ryan.
Sawcast, bro.
Yeah, so today's very important discussion, I want to discuss NOMAD. If you're familiar with sales tax, you've probably heard of NOMAD because those are the 5 states that don't have a state sales tax rate, that they don't currently collect at the state level.
That's right.
So Paul, let's maybe go through them from N to D.
NOMAD is a
Start
is
with
a common acronym used in the sales and use tax space for New Hampshire, Oregon, Montana, Alaska, and Delaware. And yeah, in these 5 states, they don't have a state sales tax that's imposed like other states. So when you're selling product, services, goods and services in these states, the state doesn't impose a statewide sales tax. In New Hampshire, Oregon, Montana, Alaska, or Delaware, NOMAD.
That's beautiful. And I think, even though these states may not have a sales tax, they probably capture it in other taxes that some states may not have, or it's a higher rate in those particular states.
Yeah, I would agree. Thankfully, I don't have to worry about those. Our firm specializes in sales and use tax, so I couldn't tell you for sure. But I have heard it said that yeah, they'll make it up, or they do make it up in the other or higher rates in income tax or
Yeah.
commercial taxes or whatever the case may be, business taxes.
So let's start with New Hampshire then. I know we have a few little tidbits of information to share. Um,
Yeah, for sure. In New Hampshire, they don't have a state sales tax, and they actually um, don't have for out-of-state sellers a sales tax that would be imposed. But you may be surprised if you visit the state of New Hampshire when attending a restaurant or a fast food joint that they will tax your food for immediate consumption at a rate of like 8.5%, I believe. Um, so if you're purchasing food inside the state of New Hampshire for immediate consumption, or you are selling food for immediate consumption inside the state of New Hampshire, there are a number of local jurisdictions that do impose a 8.5% tax. I would call it a sales tax. Yeah, it's a sales tax on food for immediate consumption. A food tax, more of a food tax, I guess.
yeah, prepared food. So if you are eating at home, preparing food at home, you're probably saving some money.
Yeah, yeah. When you go to the grocery store, you probably, you're buying your groceries. You're not going to pay sales tax on that. But if you're going to visit a restaurant or a fast food joint of some sort, I wonder if you were to visit the local gas station and you were to buy,
Mm.
a hot dog or a corn dog, are those companies or are those businesses collecting that 8.5%
Mm.
tax? Because it's food for immediate consumption.
Yeah.
And if you're in that local jurisdiction, then yeah, then you'll have that tax responsibility.
Popcorn at a movie theater.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh. Yep.
Oregon doesn't have anything other than we have a number of clients, or not a number, just probably a few clients who have to pay the 2% rental or lease tax.
Oh.
It's a tax due to the state of Delaware for renting or leasing product inside the state of Delaware. But I went from New Hampshire all the way to the end to Delaware, Ryan.
And the so
We
maybe we
skipped
could
right over OMA.
yeah.
But Delaware just comes to mind just because
They're kind of
we
close.
currently are filing a number of those, just a few of
Oh.
those returns, the rental and lease returns. Oregon.
So yeah,
Oh,
let's go
yeah.
Oregon.
I was
Yeah,
going to say
Oregon.
Oregon. I'm not aware of anything in Oregon. They probably have some business taxes. I know they have a corporate activity tax on businesses in Oregon, but again, thankfully we don't have to deal
Yeah.
with that. Talk to your local
Well,
CPA, I would say,
yeah.
about that.
Because I was reading, and I think that's important, is that some cities and municipalities have that power to you know imply a sales tax rate. But from what we research we've done, currently there are no cities, no counties that impose a sales
Yeah,
tax.
correct. Correct.
All right, skipping right along.
In true fashion.
Let's not skip Montana.
Montana. Montana also, again, one of the 5 that doesn't impose a state sales tax, but they do have a handful of tourist locations where you may be subject to sales tax, or you may be subject to paying sales tax in these local cities. The rate is very minimal. It's like 3% or 4%. Usually, and it's only a few jurisdictions in Montana. So don't be surprised if you're on vacation and you go to Montana and you're charged sales tax in these individual cities. Again, there's only, I don't know, probably a dozen or so local jurisdictions that actually impose it on, again, select jurisdiction or
Yeah.
select jurisdictions.
And is this imposed on businesses that are located within Montana? Did you say that?
Yeah, so if you're physically in these jurisdictions, and the dozen or so that have an actual city sales tax at 3 or 4%, then yeah, you would be responsible
Hmm.
for collecting that on sales in those jurisdictions. So
All right.
something to
Well,
watch out for.
yeah.
Don't get caught.
Though I think these tourist cities probably are pretty familiar.
Yeah, I would think so as well.
I would hope so. So, last but not least, since we already covered Delaware, let's talk about Alaska. And I think Alaska probably has the most to discuss about because there's actually some legislation going on that might even pass.
Yeah, Alaska, and for years, they have tried to pass a statewide sales tax. It's been kicked around 2% that they were trying to pass or impose in Alaska. And it's currently, going on discussions right now whether or not they're going to impose it and charge a statewide sales tax in Alaska. But something we do know and have been aware of for a couple of years now is that there are local jurisdictions in Alaska which have imposed and do collect a local sales tax. So if you're in Juneau, for example, you will pay a 5%, I think it's a 5 or 6% sales tax in the city of Juneau. And that's, again, if you're physically located there. But something that was passed a couple of years ago was the Alaska Remote Sellers Sales Tax Commission was established and created. And they, on behalf of 54 local jurisdictions currently, are administering the local sales tax on behalf of these local jurisdictions. So there's constantly new local jurisdictions being added to the Alaska Remote Sellers Sales Tax Commission, the ARSSTC. And So you have to be careful because they, the Alaska Remote Sales Tax Commission, require remote sellers who sell more than $100,000 or 200 separate transactions in the state of Alaska to collect sales tax. We have yet to see it litigated or taken to court. If you were to sell into Alaska to customers who are outside of these local jurisdictions which impose a sales tax, if that counts towards, the
Mm.
legislation leaves it kind of open. In my opinion, it's not black and white. And so that's why I say we've yet to see it taken to court on whether or not the ARSSTC will impose that upon businesses.
Huh.
So it's not something that has gotten a lot of traction, but we are seeing more businesses register with the ARSSTC. Wow, only two S's in there. But it is
Sales
something
tax.
to be aware of and to watch out for, that local
Huh.
jurisdictions.
How long has that been around? Is that like last 3 years?
Alaska's Remote Sellers Commission,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was established probably 2021.
Oh, okay.
And then they slowly but surely have been putting out more information about it and clarifying a few things. They have a few more FAQs on their website, that type of thing.
Is it all on one return or is it separate
Mm-hmm.
returns?
All on one return, then you
Oh,
report the sales to these local jurisdictions which administer that, or which they administer the tax on behalf of. There's 54 of them currently, but new ones are being added. I know when
so
they
Alaska,
originally
yeah,
created, there was only probably a dozen or so at first, but it's getting more popular. If
yeah,
businesses
I
or
can
not
imagine.
businesses, as cities are looking to generate more revenue, I'm sure it'll get more traction.
So it seems like Alaska kind of did it right from the beginning. On one return, don't
Yeah,
imagine 54 separate returns
yeah,
with more coming in.
yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. Crazy. It took Arizona a number of years to consolidate. Arizona was one of those beloved states that nobody wanted to do business in because of the local jurisdictions which administer the tax independently from the state. But it took Arizona a few years, and then they consolidated, and now everything is administered by the Department of Revenue at the state
Yeah,
level. So we'll see. I mean,
much better.
you never know what will happen over there and what wild hair the Alaska government will find.
Yeah, I mean, and within the near future, it could become, instead of nomadic, become nommed.
Yeah, we'll have to come up with a
Nommed.
new acronym. MUND, MOND, Montana, Oregon, New Hampshire, and Delaware. DOMN. Yeah, we'll have to
Nommed.
come up with a fun new acronym. I'm sure the sales tax nerds out there, including myself,
All,
will debate it.
yeah. Someone probably out there has probably already thought of it, anticipating.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
All right. Well, Paul, thank you so much for your wealth of knowledge, and appreciate you being on today, and hope to see you on another one.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ryan. It's great to discuss and chat more. Until next time.